Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for joining. You all will get brownie points for attending early. Coffee on me if you're in New Jersey.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, Starbucks in the University Center, please. Take me up on it. I would love to do that. It should
I
be a
can get
really
out
good
of
call.
work. I'm sorry.
I said it should be a really good call tonight, so I'm so glad you can all join.
Yes, thank you.
Hello, Sandra.
Hi, Joyce. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty
Were you
good.
getting anxious? Were you getting anxious when it was 6:52 and I wasn't on yet?
I was. I feel like I've been waiting all day to have this call. So
Great. Well,
we
it's
have
funny. I
a
saw an announcement that it was recording. I'm thinking, what is he recording already?
yeah, I guess it sets once someone jumps on, it automatically starts recording. So
Oh, I got
yeah.
it. I got it. Okay.
Learn something new with
Wonderful.
Microsoft Teams.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for joining us, parents. And I guess we'll have a few more coming on.
Yes, we great response. So we'll see.
Good.
I gotta say, Joyce, I love receiving your emails on Sunday evenings. So I feel
I'm
like
going to talk about that.
yeah,
Okay, so
that'd be great. Okay, good.
you can be my biggest fan on that.
Oh, definitely. I actually shared there was a blurb on NJ Pack. I think they were doing a career day.
Mhm.
And my daughter, she texted me today. She's like, Dad, I'm applying. Sorry. I'm applying for some internships at NJ Pack. I was like, well, I just got some, and I was trying to remember where I received the information because we're getting emails
Oh,
and I was like, wait
sure.
a minute, no, I think Joyce shared it in her newsletter on Sunday, and so I was able to share the link with her, and so I think she's definitely going to attend it. I think the deadline is this Friday, so thank you
You're
for sharing
right.
that.
Oh, of course. Yeah. No, I think one of the things that's really important is for students to understand that it's time to go broad and really look at all opportunities, that
That's correct.
nearly any organization, no matter what it is, has
Correct.
opportunities that are valuable and can help develop and can give you meaningful and transferable experience. So,
That's so true. And especially,
mhm.
I think the nonprofit sector, like NJ Pack, which is such an amazing cultural institution in Newark and just the state of New
Yes.
Jersey. So, if you
Yeah.
like culture and music and theater, it's a great place to work. So, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Well, there's something too to be said for working for smaller organizations. You get such a breadth of experience.
That
I
is so
know when
true.
I started out at one of the big four firms and I was in the oil, gas, and energy area. And I
Hmm.
first was on one of the big oil companies. So the work I was doing was very niche, very limited
Right,
because
right,
there was just such a then they put me on an independent oil producer, smaller organization, and I just saw so much because we were fewer people, and
right.
I just even as a new person, I got to do a lot of things. So sometimes the experience with a company that's smaller, but just a little bit more intricate, and you get more opportunities to really shine, that can be a great experience.
That's so true. So true. Yeah, I remember starting when I first began. I started a very small nonprofit, but it was like that. It was just you
Yeah.
learned everything, you learn volunteer
Mhm.
management, also finances and database management, and it was interesting. Even had an opportunity to work with the board, and yeah, if
Oh,
you were
yeah,
at a large organization, that does not happen. So it's so
correct.
true.
Yeah.
So I figured we'll give some people some time and
Sure.
we'll start around 7:02.
Yeah, no
And
problem.
okay. And everyone, thank you for joining. And I said this, Joyce. I said, everyone that joined early, I'll treat them to coffee if they want to come meet me at Starbucks at the University Center.
Oh, is that where you are right now?
No, I wish. It's my favorite place. If I could,
Okay.
only if I could
Oh,
find
you're
a
just
seat
you're
there.
you're offering it up.
I'm
Okay.
offering it up to anyone that wants
Yeah.
to come on campus.
Yeah.
Starbucks on me.
All right. Does that include me? Because I go to Starbucks
Yes,
every
of
day.
course. Anytime.
Yeah.
I see
That's very nice of
Amber.
you, Sandra.
Yeah.
Good. Take him up on it.
Who's that?
I,
This
Please,
is
yes.
Catherine.
Yes, please. I'll send please, I'll give you my cell phone. You can text me.
Uh,
I am so serious. I think I
Mhm.
had 2 meetings today on campus with students. It was wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, it
It's
is so nice. Yeah.
it's such a
And
great
what a
environment at the university.
difference. This morning when I came in, it was treacherous, a lot of snow still out. And then by the time I left, it was like nothing. Everything had
Right.
melted.
Snow is melting. Yeah, it's so true. It's
Yeah.
like 45 degrees, which feels like a heat
Yes.
wave, honestly.
yeah.
Right.
Let's
We
go share.
have a visiting scholar, though, from Brazil who had never seen snow before. And he was really looking forward to the snow. But I'm thinking about now, he's probably thinking, yeah, I guess I've seen it now. I'm done.
Yeah, not this much snow.
But
It's
I will say I never get tired of it. I just feel like it's so much fun to have an unexpected day when even on a weekend when you can't do anything. You can't go out. You
right.
have to be home and, you know, really kind of camp out, stay warm.
I gotta say, I took full advantage of shoveling for 3 hours, but I had fun. My son was out there. We had a snowball fight. We made snow angels. It was fun. I felt like a 10-year-old again. So,
It's quite an exercise with shoveling,
oh yes,
burn your calories. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right. It was some exercise. You just gotta pace yourself. It's
Yes,
right.
because it can be dangerous
Oh,
if you're not careful.
frozen.
That's true. That's
No,
so true.
yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, you're frozen.
Okay. I don't know.
Well,
It's
good
not
evening,
really
everyone.
working.
We're gonna wait a couple more minutes before we start. We have a
No.
large group that registered, so we're just gonna give folks some time to join the call.
Thank you.
Oh, nobody has their camera.
If you,
We,
it'd be nice to
We'd
see
love-
some families.
oh, you want us to keep it on?
If you, that'd be
No one
great.
has their camera on.
It's up to you.
Mhm.
Okay. Just gonna wait 2 more minutes, Joyce. Is that okay
Sure.
with you? Okay.
Of course. I'm typing.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not as good as I should be at typing and talking at the same time. So every time I type into the chat, I always have to um, take a minute. Now, is it coming up for you? I don't see it.
Um.
That's weird.
Did you?
I typed it in. Mhm.
Yes. It says welcome, everyone. So
Oh,
happy
yeah,
to have
yeah,
you.
that's me.
Yep, I see it.
That's
Mhm.
me.
There you go. Mm.
I don't know how to do my camera.
All right. And again, thank you everyone for joining. We're going to start pretty soon. I know folks are coming from work, might be cooking dinner, driving kids to their sporting activities, feeding the dog, which I forgot to do and I got reprimanded. So it's my one job or a couple of jobs.
You'll be reassigned now.
I know.
That's one thing you don't want to mess up, feeding the
No.
dog.
Definitely. All right. I think, let's see. All right. I think we'll begin. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us tonight. It's wonderful to see such a strong engagement from Stillman families. Your presence here reflects something that's very important, your deep commitment to your students' education and future. And we are truly grateful for that partnership. My name is Sandro Tejada, and I serve as Director of Development for Parents and Families here at Seton Hall. I've had this role for the past 13 years, and I love it. Part of my role is helping strengthen the connection between our families and the university. And evenings like this are one of my favorite ways to do that. You know, creating a space for direct and meaningful conversation with our academic leadership. And so before we begin, just a quick note that tonight's call is being recorded so that we can share with families who were unable to attend. And as we move through the program, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the raise your hand icon or share your questions in the chat or hold it for the Q&A portion of the evening. We truly welcome your engagement. And tonight is about connection. It's about hearing directly from Dean Strawser on the direction of the Stillman School of Business, how we are preparing your students for competitive and evolving industries, and how experiential learning, employer partnerships, and values-based leadership are embedded into the Stillman experience. I also want to briefly mention, and it's just a plug, an upcoming opportunity for those of you in the New York or even New Jersey area. On Tuesday, March 10th, the university will host the For All Forever Campaign Roadshow in New York City at the Beekman. Dean Strawser will be featured in conversation with John Papacinos, our Vice President for University Advancement, highlighting priorities for the Stillman School as part of the university's comprehensive campaign, which is our largest fundraising campaign, which our goal is $225 million. So far as to date, we have raised $192 million to support scholarships, enriching our education for our students, and enhancing faculty excellence. It promises to be a wonderful evening of engagement and insight, and we would love to see many of you there. I'll also add the link to register if any of you are interested in attending. And now it is truly my privilege to introduce someone whose leadership continues to elevate Stillman both nationally and globally. Dr. Joyce Strawser has been a member of the Stillman faculty since 1995 and currently serves as Dean of the school. In addition to leading Stillman, she serves as the chair of the AACSB International Board of Directors. It's the global accrediting body for business schools. It's a reflection of her national and international leadership in business education. Under her guidance, Stillman continues to strengthen its academic rigor, expand employee engagement, and ensure that students graduate not only with knowledge, but with experience, confidence, and integrity. Dean Strawser, thank you for your leadership and for being with us this evening. I'm pleased to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Sandro. And
You're
thank
welcome.
and thank you for the nice introduction. And thank you, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate this opportunity to have a conversation with you. I have a few things that I'm going to share, but then I thought after that, kind of give you the lay of the land, talk about some of the priorities we have for the Stillman School, as Sandro said. But during that, if you have any questions or you'd like me to talk a little bit more about something, don't be shy. Sandra, if you could help me too, just monitor, because we've got several screens of people here. So if you could help me monitor questions or
Definitely.
things in the chat, but please feel free to shout out or to, as Sandra said, put your hands up icon or raised hand icon up, whatever you'd like to do. But I will make sure that after giving you a brief intro, that I do have some time that we'll have available for questions and answers, whatever you want to talk about. So let me start off just by talking about the population of Stillman students. So the Stillman family is about 1,900 students. 1,614 are my undergraduate students, and then we have 293 that are graduate students. Okay, here's a pop quiz. What is the largest major at the Stillman School of Business? Does anybody know? I know Mike knows. I bet Sandra knows. Anyone else?
The one that says accounting.
Accounting? Accounting is a good guess. Accounting actually
Economics.
is not economics, nope. But you're closing in on it.
Finance?
Finance. Finance is our largest major. So of those about 1,600 undergraduate students, about 400 chose as their first choice the finance major. But in fact, we have 15 different majors at the Stillman School. So next up would be accounting and then marketing. So in terms of the rounding out the big three, finance, accounting, marketing. But we've got now our most recent additions are global supply chain. We have business analytics. We have forensic accounting. We've got quantitative economics and econometrics. So there's a wide array of majors. And something that I'll tell you that I think is important to remember is that in the 120 credit curriculum we have, it's very easy to do more than just one major. So it's very easy to do two majors. It's easy to do a major and a minor, a major and certificates. So a certificate in supply chain, if you don't want to do the major in supply chain. Wealth management is one of our most recent majors. It was a very popular minor, and we've converted it into a major now. So lots of opportunities. About 34% of our students do, in addition to their primary major, do either a second major or a minor. And not just in the business school. So a great example would be, we have a sport management major, as many of you know, but there's also a minor in sport media that's offered by the College of Human Development, Culture, and Media. So some of our students in sport management could elect to do that minor as well. And I'll tell you about a minor that we're really excited about because it blends business and humanities. And it's called a minor in business humanities, but it really helps to kind of take down that artificial divide between business and the humanities. And employers are saying more and more that they really love to see students who are doing things that cross different disciplines, different interest areas, things that distinguish students as individuals with varied interest. So that's a little bit of a look at our group here. I would tell you that we are in this spring semester, we're 33% women at Stillman. And that's really been the case for, I would say, as long as I've been there. And the reason is we do have a very large sport management program, and that tends to be a vast majority of men. Finance tends to be very male dominated as well. And again, not for any good reason that these fields should be that way, but that just tends to be the dynamic and the demographics of those particular areas. And at this moment in spring 2026, 51% of our students are students of color. I love the Stillman community because I think what happens here is you have, as a young person, a unique and rare opportunity to be around people who are different than you are, who think differently than you do. And, people often will critique higher education and say, and I'm sure you've heard this, why are we paying so much for higher education? How is this a value add? Organizations can train young people. That's true. But I would suggest that there's nowhere in your life that you're going to have the opportunity to meet people from around the world, to be exposed to unique and exciting ideas the way you are in an undergraduate program. It's just not going to happen. So it's a valuable experience, and you're getting all of that with the price of your tuition, all that wonderful socialization and seeing the world through different eyes. And we're also very fortunate, of course, by our location, because as those of you who visited our campus know, it's just a short train trip into New York City and the wealth of opportunity that exists there. And we do leverage that. You know, Sandra mentioned that we are an accredited school, that I sit on the board of AACSB, the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business. The Stillman School has accreditation both in business and supplementally in accounting. That puts us at the top 1% of the world, of business schools in the world. And so you may think, okay, well, why do I care about that if I'm not, that it has supplemental accounting and that it's in 1% of the world? Well, what that means is we are moving ourselves to align with the top universities, the top business schools across the country. That's our peer group. So we're constantly being exposed to the types of curriculum, the types of activities, events, the engagement that we see in our peer group. So it's a very good thing to have that type of distinction and to have our students have exposure to these other schools like us who are striving to be the very best. And frankly, some employers will only hire or enter into significant partnerships with schools that have business accreditation by AACSB. So it's an important standard to reach. I'll tell you a little bit about our mission because I think it's important in understanding what we prioritize. So what we say at the Stillman School is that we cultivate, our goal is to cultivate principled business leaders. So it's not our goal just to put out successful business leaders. We want principled business leaders, because I think regardless of what your philosophies might be, your beliefs might be, business is truly a powerful engine or lever for good. If there are principled business leaders at the helms of large organizations, small organizations, that makes a real difference for our society. And so we cultivate principled business leaders. And the way we do that is through an educational experience. And this is our tagline, if you will, that transforms concepts into business practice. So that means we want the lessons of the classroom to come alive in the things that students are doing. So it's all about applied learning and getting hands-on experience and being sure that students are prepared for the world of work. So they go out and they know what they're going to do as a finance industry professional. They know what they're going to do as a marketing analytics person. They know what they're going to experience, and they've had some of those experiences that they can share in the recruiting process. So we're also looking not only just to look at hands-on learning, but to develop skills that are critical. You'll often hear these called soft skills. We refer to them as success skills. So it's important for our students to know, no matter what their major is, how to use data to make decisions. So how to analyze data, how to think about it, how to draw conclusions, and then, just as importantly, how to make persuasive and compelling presentations. If you have a great idea and no one's listening to you, or nobody can understand it, you can't sell it, it's useless. So we're building all of those skills. Now, Sandro had mentioned to you experiential learning, and I've talked about transforming concepts into practice. The university's strategic plan is really focusing on this idea of transformational learning, and that is one of our big priorities. So what does that mean? Well, that means that in addition to what students are learning in the classroom, and Sometimes even within the classroom, there'll be many of these transformational activities, but we view it as inside the classroom, outside the classroom. That's where the learning occurs, both of those places. And what we're trying to do is put students into situations that are going to stretch them, so that it will give them experiences that will make them grow. And I'll give you examples of these things. Research with faculty members. So working on research projects with their faculty. Working with real clients. So we have a few classes where they directly work with actual clients. Maybe some of your students have taken some of our market research classes where we work for local businesses. We help them hone their particular strengths. We help them identify gaps and resolve those gaps, but we do market research projects that involve both focus groups and surveys. And then we deliver to those clients the findings and recommendations that students have developed. We also have, and I would invite any of you to join us if you really want to have a fun evening, every Tuesday night in our trading room, we have students who are in a class where they're actually learning how to manage a portion of the university's endowment. So we have about $650,000 that the university has allowed us to invest. And there's a course that students, a one credit course that students can enroll in to be part of this, but they can also just come and join. So the class maybe has 20 students enrolled, but every time I walk by that room on Tuesday nights, that room is packed, at least 30 students in there, all learning about making investments. So they're doing the fundamentals, figuring out what would drive a successful business, deciding what they'd like to invest in. And they're obligated, when they make a decision about what to invest in, they're obligated to also say, and here's what in our portfolio we should sell. So they come up as a team. Sometimes it's just a few students. Sometimes it can be a larger group. But they come up with a recommendation and they make a presentation to their peers and the two faculty members who act as advisors. Their peers ask them questions. And this is the part I love. When you walk by and you watch students making a presentation, a professional presentation to other students who are asking tough questions and making them defend their position. So this, I see the question in the chat, what's this Tuesday night class called? It's the Student Managed Investment Fund. So abbreviated SMIF, Student Managed Investment Fund. And Mark Schild is the instructor for that course. Hey, Sandro, could you put Mark's, he'll love me for this, put Mark's email into the chat. But we have
I would love to do that.
Okay, we have a standing invitation that anybody who would like to come by and sit on that, just to watch it. It's a lot of fun. And by the way, these students, a committee of these students actually presents to our Board of Regents, to the investment committee of our Board of Regents, to show them how successfully they've managed their portion of the endowment. And in some years, we've beaten the professional advisors. So that portion of our endowment is in very good hands, I can tell you, but it's all about the learning experience. Now, likewise, there's another finance-related activity that we have again, but this idea of doing real work. One of our alums has an interest in Napier Park Global Capital, where they do credit analysis. And what they've done is they've allowed our students to shadow their credit analysts and develop their own analyses of these companies. And so the students will work on this during the semester. They'll develop recommendations, identify the credit risk associated with a particular company, and then the professionals come in and give them feedback on it. So they're doing real work. On Friday, we're going to have our accounting students doing tax returns. So our accounting students will be doing tax returns for free for people who qualify for a free tax return preparation under the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. We're working with United Way to do that preparation. We've saved taxpayers tons of money in terms of filing fees and the refunds that they get from the work that we do. But the most important thing, of course, is that our students are working with clients and they're doing the work that an accountant would do. I already mentioned our Market Research Center, where our students do real projects for clients. Another thing you might be aware of is the Stillman School has a sports poll. So every month we'll do a poll, and it's typically a poll where the subject is at the intersection of sports and ethics. And I'm sure you can imagine there's no lack of topics in that area. So more recently, some of the things we've looked at are the impact of sports betting, for example. In the past, we've looked at the abuse of steroids, for example, with athletes. We've looked at the popularity of the Olympics. We've looked at how changes in the rules for certain sports. So I don't know how many are baseball fans, but changes in some of the rules related to baseball have made the game more watchable for many fans. But what we have is students who work on developing the questions around those polls, who then analyze the data, who prepare our media announcements, so our written summaries, our social media posts, who work on that poll from beginning to end. And it's really paid off in terms of their exposure to different things. For example, our poll, we had 2 polls picked up recently by ESPN, one having to do with behavior of fans around the Super Bowl, what they like to watch, what they look forward to most, and another around the Olympics, how popular the Olympics is and what events fans tend to like. And as a matter of fact, I don't know how many of you watch CNN, but our sport poll was featured on Harry Enton's. He has a series of videos called the Enton Scale. So Harry Enton is the chief data analyst for CNN Politics. So you might have seen him if you've watched ever election coverage, or he'll talk about different trends or analyses. But he had a more recent video, I think it was the last couple of weeks, where he really called out our Seton Hall sports poll and talked about our findings around the Olympics. Our clubs are also a fertile ground for learning by doing. We have a club called Consult Your Community. It's actually a chapter of the national organization, Consult Your Community. And students in that club act as consultants. They go out, they work for the organizations right down in South Orange, helping them target particular customer segments, helping some of the restaurants, for example, refine their menus, helping them develop business plans. But it's, again, all about getting them out there and getting them some experience. I know that many of you are probably interested in placement stats for Stillman. Historically, we've had really strong placement rates. The most recent final data I have is for 2024. In a couple of weeks, I should have for the class of 2025. I expect it to be very similar based on early returns. But in 2024, we placed 98% of our students within 6 months of graduation. About between 70 and 80% of our students do at least one internship before they graduate. And as a matter of fact, if you are a sport management major, you must do 2 internships. If you're a management major, you must do 1. I'm pushing the faculty to change our policy or requirements so that every student would do an internship or have some significant work experience, if not doing an internship, because I think that's very important. It's important for them to see, for example, and in a realistic way, do they really want to do this thing that they're studying? So that can be a very important incentive, but also it's just a great way to get your foot in the door. So if you've done an internship, if you've had any experience, you're just so much more likely to be an attractive candidate for that organization and for other organizations as well. And you're going to go out at a higher starting salary. Not surprisingly, we do tend to have at Stillman some of the highest starting salaries across campus. So the median starting salary for a Stillman student who graduated in 2024 was $72,500. That was the median. The mean was slightly low at about 69, slightly lower at about 69,000. And if you were an accounting major in 2024, you went out at an average of $75,900 a year. So there is some variance. Some of our majors are more highly compensated. Others the demand for students, or the demand that students have to be in those professions, drives down the salary a little bit. Okay, let me also talk about opportunities for mentoring, and then I do see some questions, so I'll go to that. We have plenty of opportunities for students to be mentored. We offer all of our freshmen the opportunity to be involved in peer mentoring with our upperclassmen. So we invite them to get into these relationships from the start of their freshman year. For sophomores through seniors, we have what we call an executive mentoring program that any student who wishes to be involved in can just raise their hand and be involved in that. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be launching what we call the Stillman Dinner Series. And that is where our alums volunteer to take a small group of students out to dinner. So an alum will pick a restaurant, usually pretty close to campus. And then what we'll do is we'll put the alum's bio up, and then we'll invite students to sign up for those dinners. So typically a dinner would be between, we always say it has to be a couple of students at least. So between 3 or 8 students dining with an alum, just having a casual conversation, making some connections in a fun and lighthearted, less formal way. Okay, one other thing that I'm sure is on everybody's mind is AI. What are we doing about AI? Because we know that that's a disruptive factor, both in education as well as in industry. And we do see that there are challenges for this group that's going out this year in terms of placement. So we're going to be working doubly hard on making sure that they have great opportunities. But we are committed to not be afraid of AI, not to shut it down, but to make sure our students are fully prepared to go out into the work world and understand the benefits, but also the limitations of artificial intelligence. So we've got faculty who are embracing AI in the classes in different ways. And what we're doing now, we had a teaching workshop in January, and what I've asked my colleagues to do is to classify their courses. So we're going to have an inventory, if you will, of courses that range along dimensions of how AI is incorporated. So they would go from non-AI classes, meaning no AI use is allowed. Faculty don't allow use in that class. We're hoping that's a very small percentage, and we want it to be a percentage perhaps, but not a big one. Then AI optional, where AI use is allowed, but not required, maybe not even strongly encouraged, but the course has a policy that regulates AI use. From that, we would go to AI assisted. And this is a class where the faculty encourage students, perhaps require students to use AI as a coach or a facilitator. So to use it when they're brainstorming ideas or when they're working on early drafts. So AI would be required for some part of the course in that category. Then we go higher level, AI conceptual. So AI is a significant discussion point or theoretical foundation of the class. So we have classes on machine learning and deep learning and algorithmic trading. So students are learning how AI is used. Then at the top, at the pinnacle, and where we want to see more classes go, is AI applied. So that we are teaching students how to appropriately use AI in a particular context relating to hands-on projects that they're doing in their classes, labs, case studies, where they're looking at perhaps real data and using AI to help them sort that and come up with preliminary analyses and help them, again, use that data in making decisions. So I just want you to know that we are on top of that, and we are going to make sure that students don't go out into a world in which people are going to have skills that they don't have. Then I just want to call out just a couple more opportunities before opening it up for your questions and things that you'd like to hear more about. A couple of things first. I know probably some of you are interested in learning more about scholarships. How do students get scholarships? We have a new system where students sign in to the system and they are shown or presented with scholarships for which they are eligible. And that system is going to open up for them For scholarships for next year, so for scholarships for 2026, 2027, that system will open on March 27th and will close on June 5th. So during that period of time, students will be invited to go in, to browse, and to see what options would work for them, depending on particular characteristics relating to need, relating perhaps to discipline, or relating even to a year of study. So please make sure that your student is looking out for that. I will put it in my weekly updates. Okay. Then the other thing I would say is encourage students to take advantage of our clubs and organizations. That's the way that they're going to connect with their peers, upperclassmen, with faculty, and perhaps most importantly, with employers. All of our clubs and organizations, and we have 16 that are Stillman based, business based. All of our clubs and organizations center around in some way preparing students to be business professionals. So we have a real estate club, and of course, big, but what I say, practitioners or people who have been very successful in the realm of real estate come in and present and talk with students and share different pathways. We have a high finance club, which prepares students for Wall Street type finance jobs. We have what we call the Hall Street Fund, which is more of a basic investment type of fund. We have the accounting club. We have the economics club. All of these clubs are designed to help students grow in terms of their academic preparation, but also their professional development, and also to help them build connections. So they play a lot of different roles. And I always tell the story that my husband was a music major when he graduated college. My field is accounting. So when I used to talk about the accounting club, he would roll his eyes like, who would join the accounting club? But the truth is, it's fun and you're meeting people and you're learning a lot. So yeah, we push students to join all these business clubs, and please encourage them to do that. We do a lot with competitions. So our Pirates Pitch, which is our version of Shark Tank, tonight there's a session that will help students prepare to be competitors in the Pirates Pitch. Tomorrow, we have a group of 5 students who are going to be competing in the CFA Research Challenge, the Chartered Financial Analysts Investment Research Challenge, where they will be presenting their recommendation on a company called Nano Nuclear. So it's an emerging nuclear platform. So it's a pre-revenue business, and they are trying to make a recommendation on whether they would buy, sell, or hold that stock. So they're now down, they're in the final 4 in the New York region. And as you can imagine, the New York region is a pretty competitive group of business schools. So we're excited about tomorrow, hoping that they'll come out as number 1. But even being in the final 4 is a terrific outcome. We also had students over the weekend compete in the first ever private equity pitch competition, which was hosted by St. John's. So we were competing with schools, not just from the Big East area, but actually schools came out from the West Coast, from the middle of the United States to compete in this competition. So we love that for our students, that they're getting out there and getting experience, doing research, drawing conclusions, and making presentations. And let's see, my final call, dual degree programs. You might have gotten a letter, depending upon where your students are in their journey, you might have gotten a letter from me about our dual degree programs, because we do offer students the opportunity to earn a graduate degree in a 5-year period. So for 150 credits, they can earn either an MBA or a Master of Science in Business Analytics, or a Master of Science in Financial Technology and Analytics, or a Master of Science in Professional Accounting, if they are accounting students. So that opportunity does do 2 things. First of all, if they are taking undergrad and grad courses together as part of this dual degree program, the first 9 credits of their graduate coursework are counted as part of their undergrad tuition. So in other words, it's free. You don't pay any more. You're paying that same flat tuition. Beyond that, If you're in a 5-year program and you don't have that opportunity to take grad and undergrad classes together, you still benefit from moving more quickly, or the classes you take beyond 9, you're taking and moving more quickly. And if you are looking at our MBA program and you're doing a 5-year program with us, not only do you have that opportunity to take the graduate classes up to 9 credits for free, but we also waive or just eliminate 10 credits. So you're doing a 40 credit MBA for 30 credits. So there are valuable opportunities in the dual degree realm. And we do host a number of webinars. So if your student is at all interested in pursuing a graduate education with us, please just encourage them to reach out. I'm happy to connect them, to give them all the information. And it is in my Sunday night update. And I'll say something about that. I know because Sandra gets these, and Mike Russo, who's on here as well, gets these every Sunday night. Every Sunday night, I send out an email where I go through and I talk about some of the things that are coming up at the school, some of the accolades, some of the things our students have done well, some of the things our faculty are doing. And I will talk about opportunities for internships, for scholarships, because we do have external scholarships for which students can compete. And then I will do a week ahead section where I say, here's what's happening every night, Monday through Friday, sometimes into Sunday at the Stillman School. So here are the guest speakers who will be there. Here are the club meetings and what they're going to be doing in those club meetings. Here are the opportunities for additional learning. Here are the, big events that we're having. So a couple of weeks ago, we had our capital markets colloquium. It was a day-long session of workshops offered by finance professionals. BlackRock, Morgan Stanley. We had a panel that was all the big insurers. So Aon, Prudential, Chubb. All of these are opportunities for students to learn more about business, learn more about specific opportunities, but also to meet these people who can make connections for them. And then my final thing I'll share is, so now you are part of the Stillman family, and we would welcome your participation in any way you'd like to be involved. I know Sandro has always offered these opportunities. I think he's pretty much said that, was it everybody on the call could meet you for coffee at Starbucks? Was that it, Sandro? I think that was
No,
what you
those
said.
those that were here early.
Oh, I see.
On
I
the
see.
call.
Okay. But no, we're happy to meet with you, talk with you. Happy to have you talk to our students about interesting things that you do as a professional or opportunities you may know about. But we do very strongly view Stillman as a place that is a partnership. So it's all about not just faculty and students, but it's faculty, students, alumni, employers, all of us together. We're a big ecosystem, and you are now part of that group. So I would invite you to participate as much or in as many ways as you would like. And with that, I will end this sort of me talking at you piece and go back through and see what questions we have in the chat and do my very best to address as many as I can. And you can still ask additional ones. Okay, so how do we sign up for the Sunday night emails? I actually have had parents who wanted to be on my Sunday night email list, and I'm happy to add you to that. I'm pretty sure I'm doing it in a different way. It looks a little more professional than it used to. But I'm going to just type my email address into the chat. You might even have it already. But if you would like to be on my Sunday night email list, happy to add you. And I'm confident I can do that. Right. We use the same system to email external people all the time. And I have had, it is funny, I've done this in the past, and I have had families that will write me like a couple of years later and say, okay, my student has graduated, he's working, I don't need to hear from you every Sunday night. And I take no offense. You can stop it whenever you want. You can opt out at any time. But if you'd like just to get a taste of it and see what's going on, happy to open that to anybody. Okay, then let's see, what else do we have here? Questions. Oh, this is great, Sandra. You've been putting a lot of good information here. Okay. Some struggle with the internship portal, mentioning the windows for application are very short, aren't as many available for econ majors. Okay, first of all, this is what I would say. Christine Milano at the Career Center, have any student who is struggling with internships contact Christine. We work with the Career Center generally, but Christine is our primary point person. And I would say she is one of the most dedicated, one of the most talented individuals. Then I would make sure that, and I'm going to give this advice generally to everybody. When students tell me I don't have an opportunity for an internship, my first thing I ask them is, so tell me what events you attended over the last couple of weeks, because they should be going to clubs and meeting some people. They should be thinking about their area of interest more broadly. Like there's one internship I know with the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. And I think students look at that and they think, oh, that's not what I want to do. But it's about, I believe it is an economics related research internship. And that I know they post every spring, summer, fall. And I always wonder, are students taking advantage of this? Obviously, it doesn't sound as exciting as working, for example, for one of the big consulting firms or for one of the accounting firms or a finance organization, but that's the stepping stone that gets you to the next thing. So I would definitely suggest that. I would suggest Christine Milano at the Career Center. I would suggest going to clubs and organizations, even if they're outside of what you consider to be your discipline. One of my colleagues who's in finance says all the time, I need you finance students going to the market research. Tonight there's a market research center meet and greet. He says, you should go there. He says, do you think that these big marketing firms don't have finance professionals working for them? And he says the opposite too. You know, you marketing students should be going to when we have the finance network working for them. Some of the largest advertising budgets are in some of the big financial firms. So I would encourage everybody to really think about more broadly about the experiences you have. Getting involved in some of these clubs that are, especially those that are project-based and taking on leadership roles, makes you a very attractive candidate. And I did see also a comment about when you're a freshman and there aren't internships available. You know, that is true. It is harder, not impossible, but harder for freshmen to get an internship in their discipline. So what should they do? They should do whatever kind of work they can find, and they should leverage the abilities that they have to build some skills in that area that they can translate into other jobs. Our Career Center can really help students who are, for example, I'll give you an example. My son, the first year after, when he came back for the summer after his first year, did not have a traditional internship, a business internship. Instead, he was a wait person at a local restaurant you might have been to it was called Arturo's then. It's called Artie's now. But he was a wait person, right? And you might think, all right, so what good is that? Well, Artie's sources farm fresh produce. And they really are very concerned about the health benefits of their food. And he learned a lot about that, was able to describe that he was part of an organization. And this is the way they analyzed what they were doing in terms of their menu. And this is how they sourced their raw materials and how they decided what inventory to acquire. So there's a lot that you can actually apply. So what I would say is doing something, no matter what it is better than doing nothing. And what employers want to see so often as just a baseline is, hey, has this individual had a position of responsibility where they had to be there every day, where they had to be on time, where they had to engage with other people? Those are incredibly valuable skills. So what I would say about that is just have your students not be too choosy about what they want to do. Get something and they can move up from there. We also have our students have access to LinkedIn Learning. So we all do, but our students have access to LinkedIn Learning where they can engage in various skill developing types of activities. So they can learn coding, they can learn different types of analysis. There's a lot there. They can learn how to make more compelling presentations, a lot of LinkedIn Learning modules. So there's always something that they can do. Whenever I interview somebody for a position, I always ask them, what have you done in the last 6 months to become better at your job? What personally have you taken as initiatives or steps to develop yourself? And I am sure that that's what our prospective employers are asking our students. Just what is it that you're doing to be better? That's what you want to see, somebody who's motivated. Let's see, let me say what else we've got. So the federal work study students, so there that might be a bit of a miscommunication, misunderstanding. We do have opportunities for federal work study students to work on campus, but that, and it's true that a lot of our on-campus work is reserved for federal work study students because they're free in terms of, our paying, but the internships, the external internships, that is not a barrier at all or a requirement at all. External internships are available to everybody. I just had, for example, a very small CPA firm in town ask me, could I send out a little note to, they were looking at everybody from sophomores through seniors, a little note to my students to get a student who would do part-time work during the tax season. And they've come back year after year to ask me to do this. And so there are a lot of local vendors, merchants, service people who would really love to have students working with them. Oh, thank you for posting the LinkedIn Learning. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is a great question about the 5-year programs. 5-year programs you can apply to as a freshman, but you can also apply to those all the way up to your junior year. So some students are admitted to a BSB MBA program as freshmen, but through your junior year and all the way even up until your senior year, you can apply and be accepted into the 5-year program. Our rule is you get the benefits of 5-year as long as you are accepted prior to your graduation. So even if this was the final semester, so even if you have a student who's graduating in May of 2026, for example, if your student applies and is accepted into our MBA program, that student obviously can't blend undergrad and grad courses together, too late for that, but they would get the 10 credits waived and could do a 30-credit MBA. They would just have to start either in the summer or the fall to keep it close. So it is not too late. Oh, good. It's great to see somebody in forensic accounting. Terrific. We're excited about that new major. Let's see. What else am I missing here? Internship. Okay. So there's a question here about a 3-year degree. At this time, we are not really looking at reducing credits. We've thought about that. We've heard places that are doing that. But what we are seeing more and more of, honestly, is students who are getting a 3-year degree because they're coming to us with so many credits from these high school, college, I'm forgetting the term now. It'll come to me later, of course, but dual enrollment, that's what it is. A lot of our students are coming to us with credits that they've earned in high school from other colleges. So they're actually coming to us often with as many as 45 credits of college coursework. And so they're finishing their degree much more quickly. So what we try to do is offer flexibility that students can accelerate their degree path. I have mixed feelings about that, to be honest. I hate to see a student just overburden himself, herself with a lot of coursework and not take advantage of some of the really significant and impactful experiential opportunities. So, and not be involved in clubs, not do, oh, I can't believe I didn't mention this, not do study abroad. Study abroad is another initiative or experiential learning element that we're really pushing. It's just such a great experience for students. Just stretches their minds in ways that they just couldn't have imagined. So I want to see students graduate in a timely way. We always are concerned about that. And we always make sure that students have the opportunity to get into classes, to complete their degrees on time. But I do sometimes feel a little tinge of regret when a student comes to me and says, I'm going to graduate in 3 years. This is how I'm going to do it. And I just feel like, wow, the rest of your life is all about working and not being in a college environment. Soak up some of this, soak up some of the real experience and benefits of being in a college setting. Obviously, I chose to be in it all my life. And so there's just some really intrinsic benefits to this environment. Let's see, what are the steps for entering into the executive mentoring program? So we are now in the midst of this, but what I would say is if your student is interested, please email me and we'll see if we can match them up informally. The program started in the fall and we did a call to students to join, but you know, sometimes our alums are happy to take an extra mentee or student as part of the work that they're doing, the volunteer work. So it certainly would be possible to at least make a connection and have somebody that a student can bounce ideas off of and maybe join us for the final meeting of the semester. Okay, and this dinner series opportunities. When I left today, my colleague, Ben Pincus, who's Associate Dean, was pulling a database of student emails and planning to send out the announcement. So do have your students look. I would say he's probably going to get that done, if not tomorrow, by Friday. And so an email is going to go out about the Stillman dinner series, inviting students to sign up for those dinners. Okay, let's see what else. Yeah, so I think I covered a little bit about the freshman internships. You know, and sometimes it could be something as, I guess, non-traditional as looking for opportunities to do work with faculty on research. You know, maybe a freshman couldn't get an internship. Maybe it would even be hard to do the faculty research, but just even expressing interest in being involved. I know that, for example, I worked with an organization that is very concerned with making sure that socially responsible organizations are getting financing. Sometimes social-oriented organizations are not as easily financed or can't obtain capital in as easy a way as other organizations, more traditional business organizations. So I work with this organization and we were working on a white paper. And as part of that, there was a presentation of that happened in the city at a big conference on socially responsible initiatives and organizations. And I just wrote to students and I said, hey, I am looking for some volunteers to go with me to this, it's the Nest Climate Summit is what it was called in New York City. And you would help by checking in guests, by helping the presenters, by just, you know, being there and being extra sets of hands. And a number of students took advantage of that because I didn't care if they were freshmen or seniors. I just wanted some students who were willing to volunteer, who wanted to learn a little bit more about financing for socially responsible or socially committed organizations.
Joyce, I just wanted to let you know we have
Sure.
about 5 more minutes for the
Oh
call.
gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. No, I don't know if you have more time to share, but I know
Sure.
there's more questions being asked, but I just wanted to be cognizant of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's see. What else did I miss then?
And if anyone has, you know, you can definitely unmute yourself and ask a question. We would love to
Sure.
hear your voices. So if anyone has any questions, and feel free to unmute yourself and ask Joyce any questions that you might have as
Yeah.
well.
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Betsy, and I'm calling from Chicago. My son is the forensic accounting sophomore. And I'm wondering if you guys have anything kind of summarizing what you've been talking about this evening. I'm hosting an admitted student event on March 8th.
Thank
And
you.
rather than just jawing as a parent and how much I love Seton Hall, it'd be nice to have just kind of a cheat sheet summary of what you've talked about this evening and what Stillman offers students that I can
Yeah.
share.
Joyce, and I can answer that. Yeah, I'll send a summary of this call to everyone that
Okay.
attended. And also we'll have the recording of this session as well. So, but I'll send that summary to everyone that's on this call as well.
Well,
Okay.
and you know what I could also do, Sandra,
Mhm,
because
sure.
I believe I can add something. I'm not sure I could quickly locate it to put it on the chat while we're talking, but I think if I added something after the call to the chat, everybody would see it, right?
That's right.
Everybody
That's
would have
correct.
access to it. So what I'm going to do, we have this little document. I'm just going to hold it up here. We have this.
Yep.
I know you couldn't see that, but we have a document that we give to prospective students. So students who come to visit
Yep.
us on campus at open houses. And it summarizes a lot of the things that I just mentioned. You know,
That's
what about
exactly what I'm looking for.
internships? What about study abroad? I'd be
Yep.
happy to post that up because these are the kinds of, we frame it around what kinds of questions would you typically ask when you're visiting a campus? So, you know, can you do a second major? What kind of activities can I engage in? Can I study abroad? What is your placement rate? Where do your graduates go? All of that. So happy to do that and really grateful to you for hosting that.
Yeah, and as you might imagine, the Midwest, your basketball team helps, right? Because
Yeah.
people have heard of the basketball team. But other than
Right.
that, unless you've got family members out east, a lot of people are a little bit, reluctant. So I want to do
Yeah.
everything I can to engage
And
people to consider. March 8th,
that's
March
great.
8th.
March 8th. Okay, wonderful. No, happy to help in any way I can. It's funny, I do have that where when I introduce myself and say Seton Hall, the first thing people always talk about generally is the basketball team, right?
Mhm.
But I remember one time I met the dean from the School of Business at Penn State University. And he says, "Oh, Joyce," he says, "Seton Hall." He says, "I know Seton Hall." And surprisingly, he said, "You guys have a great debate team." I said,
Oh.
"You're right, we do." And it was such a treat to have somebody mention some of the academics because we do have really strong academics. But, I, as an undergrad, went to Texas A&M University, and as a PhD student, I went to LSU. So I'm used to everybody just talking football to me all the time. So I know that those things are draws. And by the way, there's a lot that students do. I do love college sports. I was not an athlete, but I do love college sports, but I think there's a lot that students can do too to get a lot of benefits from that. So a lot of our students help manage some of the teams. They are on the dance team. They are in the pep band. They have a lot of great experiences around that as well. And it's just a great way to meet people.
Yeah, my son plays hockey for Seton Hall. Mhm.
Yep. That's amazing. Nearly anything that you do that's going to connect you with other
Yep.
students, alums, faculty, all those are really positive things. And it's some of those, especially in a more competitive environment for recruiting, it's those personal touches. It's that you met somebody and they saw that you were a person with curiosity, who was not afraid to come up and introduce themselves. That goes a long way in helping students get opportunities.
Joyce, we're at 8 p.m., so I just wanted to see if you still have a couple more minutes to answer any more questions.
Sure.
But if anyone
Sure.
else
Yeah. And doesn't have to end at this point either. You have my email, so feel free to use it or to call me. Maybe I should put my number. Email's probably the best just because I can answer at any time. let's see, but I will put my number here too. Okay.
There
So
was a
feel free.
question. Yep. Joyce, there was a question and I kind of answered it. What is the best time to do study abroad after sophomore year, after junior year? I just shared that we have this wonderful study abroad program. It's called Rome Connection, and it's an embedded study abroad experience for first year undergraduate Seton Hall students. So they can start as a freshman to study abroad, which kind of plants the seed. Normally those that actually participate in this program it's not only the first, it's one of many that they begin to participate. So freshman year is a good time to start.
And Sandra, actually today I had a group of students flying out with one of my faculty members to India. So they're doing course doing business in India.
That's
Then later I'm going to have a group of students who are applying to France, and this particular trip is organized around the sport marketing course. So they're going to learn about sport while they are traveling around to stadiums and to sport organizations in France. So not too terrible a gig. And a lot of these are organized around spring breaks. They do their travel around spring break or early in the summer, but the class runs, during the semester as well. And they get that short sense of travel and seeing the world, but there also are opportunities to do a semester abroad. We have partners, so we have specific arrangements with some universities, but we also have a director of the Institute of International Business who will work with students. So if a student said, I want to go to Bocconi in Milan, Bocconi University, he will work with students to find those courses and make sure they'll transfer back. So always a way to do that. I always regretted that I didn't do study abroad as a college student, and I always encourage people to take advantage of that. So any other questions?
There was a question, how do I get involved with Sunday email lists? And I think Joyce shared her email address,
Yep.
So
just
you can subscribe that way, right? Yep.
Yeah, just emailing. And, I will say before we go, this is such a joyful job. I mean, I always feel like I have the best job in the world because you never feel like you're aging. Like I'll go home and I'll look in the mirror and I'm realizing, yeah, I'm old. But when you're around students, there is a buzz and energy that is just, nothing compares with it. And I will tell you that it is an honor and a privilege to be able to work with your students. And we do feel a real sense of obligation to make sure they're getting the very best that we can give them. So, sometimes it can be stressful to be a student. And I know sometimes you feel confused, you don't know where to turn, but tell them just to reach out often. Just reach out to their faculty, to reach out to me, to reach out to other people on my administrative team if they have any issues. If we can't answer, we can point them in the right way. But it is, sometimes I remember when I taught more regularly, the most frustrating thing that a student would say to me is, where can I go for help? And I thought, hello, here I am. I'm teaching the course. I can help you. But students sometimes are afraid. What you are paying for, what they are paying for through tuition is our support and our help. So please tell them, don't be afraid to reach out to your faculty members. Don't even be afraid to say, I don't even know what to ask. I'm so confused. Yeah, just go in. They'll walk you through it. But it's been really such a pleasure talking with you all tonight. I'm happy to, as I said, engage further, email, phone calls. Take advantage of it. That's part of the price of the Seton Hall education, right? Part of the benefits that you get for that Seton Hall education and being part of this family.
And again, thank you, Dean Strawser, for your thoughtful remarks and leadership. And thank you to all our parents and families for your questions and engagement this evening. If tonight's conversation sparked any additional questions or ideas, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or or to Joyce directly. We truly welcome the continued dialogue. And again, I have to plug this in. For those who may be in New York area, we hope you'll consider joining us on March 10th at the Beekman, where you can meet Joyce there for the All Forever campaign, for All Forever campaign roadshow. It's going to be a special evening featuring Dean Strawser, as I mentioned, conversation about the future of Stillman and some of our strategic priorities shaping the next chapter of the school and the university. And again, thank you for spending your evening with us. We are grateful for your trust, your partnership, and the opportunity to support your students. Have a wonderful night and go Pirates. Joyce, I don't know if you want to say some final words about thank you again.
Sandra, I think one of the things you forgot to highlight in the whole Beekman experience, free food and drink. Good food, good
right.
food. So you don't have to
How
make
could I
dinner.
forget that? That's right.
So the way my colleagues are selling it, my team who works closely with me is, yeah, it's a great entree or hors d'oeuvres, cocktails, and you just have to listen to the dean talk for a little bit. That's what it is. But no, we'd love to see you anytime. And thank you, Sandro. Thank you for
you're
setting this
welcome.
up. Really
you're
appreciate it.
welcome.
And thanks for everybody who attended.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.
Stay.
Take care.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Night. Thank you.